My name is Jennifer Spangler. I live in Statesville, North Carolina, and we just went through worrying about a potential ban here in our state, and I was really pleased with how that turned out. But to now know that the DEA is basically, and the CDC and the FDA is basically going to federally prohibit the possession, use, or sale of Kratom to anyone is a shock to my system, because I'm going to read my testimony. It's very important to understand what I went through, and some of it I'm not proud of, but that's the whole reason that Kratom is so important to me. And I know that if it's this important to me, it's just as important, if not more, so to so many others. So please hear me out. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to read my testimonial, and this is what I sent to the legislature of North Carolina a few months back. This is then pretty up to date. I'll correct anything if need be, but I'm just going to read this directly. Hopefully I can do this quickly. I don't want to lose anybody's attention. This is very important. Hello and good day. I am writing to you all because I feel strongly about this issue. Personally, I am in opposition of the bill SB 830, which was the North Carolina bill to propose the ban of Kratom, along with some other items. And I have a good reason for being in opposition. To ban Kratom and or to make it a controlled substance would be very irrational, in my personally educated and experienced opinion. I thank you all in advance for your time in hearing my story, and I beg you to please consider all points of view on this issue before going forward. I am open to any and all responses, should any of you choose to reach out to me. Thank you. I am 38 years old. I'm a working single mother of a wonderful 15-year-old son. Since I was 17, I've had severe back pain. It turns out I have degenerative disc disease as well as one confirmed herniated disc. About 7 years ago, I began seeing a spine management or pain management specialist to help me with these problems. Needless to say, I was prescribed meds to help deal with the pain: an anti-inflammatory, Mobic, a muscle relaxer, Flexeril, and of course, the biggie, opiates. In my case, oxycodone. The problem with opiates is that no matter the person's intentions, it's inevitable that the person's tolerance will outgrow the opiate prescription. This happened to me within a few years. Of course, my doctor would raise the dose here and there, but it got to the point where the doc refused to raise the dosage level. Physical therapy provided some relief, and I still do the exercises, but the majority of the pain remains day to day. Also, my work in IT has sometimes required heavy lifting and the ability to squeeze into a tight spot or two when necessary. Also, to perform well on the job, I must be clear-headed. The oxycodone inhibited my ability to perform as well as I normally would have. Therefore, not only was the prescription not controlling my pain, but I couldn't even take it during the day, as I didn't want to impair my cognitive ability on the job or cause an issue with driving. For several years, I lived in misery, pushing through, though, because I refused to seek disability as an alternative. I would like to remain a productive member of society. And please note that the following contains a completely honest look at my life, as it was for a while. It's not something I'm proud of, but it's necessary to tell this story so that you will understand why Kratom has been so beneficial to and for me. And please hear me out. After outgrowing my prescription, things got really bad for me. I would overuse my medication, knowing all the while that I shouldn't, but I felt like I needed the relief, and I would rationalize by saying, I'll just cut back for the next couple days, no big deal. Well, that always ended up being me lying to myself. I would start running out of my prescription a week or so early, and then I'd go through not only the extra pain, but the withdrawal of the opiates. What a terrible experience. Truly, every month I would go through at least a week of cold sweats, hot sweats, runny nose, debilitating stomach pain, insomnia, nausea, diarrhea. I also have irritable bowel syndrome, so the withdrawals would exacerbate that condition tremendously, not to mention depression and anxiety. Once I began going through this, I realized that whether I wanted to admit it or not, I was not only dependent upon opiate medication, but I was also addicted. And I was suffering because of it, as was my son, since I was unable to be the mother I needed to be during that time due to the pain and the withdrawal. It was a very dark time. I should also explain that I was diagnosed as a teen with bipolar type 2. I have occasional mood swings, some of which can be incredibly severe. I also have general anxiety, which varies moment to moment. For the most part, I can remain level-headed, but my depression is often unpredictable, so there have been a few monkey wrenches thrown into my life at certain times. The opiate withdrawal would cause my anxiety to go through the roof, and the whole situation caused me to become severely depressed. I hated that I was addicted to opiates. It made me feel like a bad person, and I had thoughts like, I'm a bad mother. I'm not worthy of my son's love. Those thoughts would run through my head, and it started becoming so terrible that even though I know I won't ever commit suicide, there were times I almost wished that something would, quote unquote, take me out. I had a breast cancer scare at one point, and part of me actually hoped I had cancer. How ridiculous is that? I hoped for the worst. The life I was leading was becoming too hard for me to deal with. One night I had just had enough, and I began searching the internet for ways to ease opiate withdrawal. I also searched for natural remedies that I could use instead of the opiate pain meds. The search results for both of these inquiries, one after the other, showed Kratom. Once I began researching it, the hope I felt was a little overwhelming, though I was a little skeptical. It felt promising. I immediately placed an order from a vendor who seemed reputable. The rest, as they say, is history. It took a bit to get an understanding of what type to take, how much to take, and how to take it. And honestly, I'll probably always be tweaking that a little bit. Everyone's Kratom experience is very personal to them. But I digress. When I received my order, I was in with withdrawals full on. One dose, and within the half hour, my withdrawal symptoms had eased by, I would say, at least 80%. I was ridiculously happy about that. Not only did I feel better in that regard, but my pain was lessened by a surprising degree. Also, I didn't notice any cognitive cloudiness or impairment in my motor skills. I was ecstatic. And now that I've been taking Kratom for around 2 years, I guess it'd be about 2.5 years now, I realized just how amazing this leaf really is. Here's a list of the ways that Kratom has helped me. I had high blood pressure for a few years, and guess what? My BP is normal every time I check it now. I'm not nearly as depressed as I'd been for the last couple years prior to Kratom. My major anxiety is completely diminished, 100%. My IBS symptoms are completely 100% remedied by Kratom, and I had no idea it would even help with that. My back pain is relieved beyond what it had been when taking the opiate medication. I have more energy, I'm more focused at work, and I feel confident in myself. I have an overall sense of well-being that is not false, because the Kratom doesn't just make me feel good, it has given me the ability to take action to improve my life. I cannot say enough good things about this amazing leaf. My life has been changing, and only for the better. I no longer feel like a bad person or a bad mother. I'm taking charge of my life again, and the opiates have no hold on me anymore. I'm no longer prescribed oxycodone, and I couldn't be happier about that. I get the same or better relief without the side effects or withdrawals. I don't get the nods, or I don't feel doped up either. Not on Kratom. I just feel normal. I feel like me. I know there is an argument about the severity of withdrawals when stopping taking Kratom suddenly. I can speak to that on some level. I decided to find out what would happen if I stopped taking it for a week. The only withdrawal I really noticed was the return of my IBS symptoms. Of course, my pain increased as expected. Other than that, I had no real noticeable withdrawals, no severe depression, no increased anxiety. There was nothing remarkable at all about the experience. Of course, I was glad to continue my Kratom therapy when the week was over, but I was satisfied that my personal withdrawal experience was incredibly mild. In my opinion, Kratom is the most benign substance I've ever put in my body. It has improved my health overall, emotionally and physically. I am a happier, more productive person and mother. It would certainly be a huge shame if Kratom were unavailable to those who could benefit from it as I have. Please consider my opinion, along with the countless others who are in support of this harmless leaf. A hasty decision on this matter could be of serious detriment to those in pain, and those potentially suffering unnecessarily, and those spiraling downward into the opiate tunnel of addiction. I will support Kratom every day in every way that I can because I believe that it should be legal, plain and simple. Perhaps a condition of age could be placed on its consumption. I'm not opposed to that. However, I believe that in most cases, adults should be able to make their own educated decisions on what to put into their bodies. Again, please consider this before further proceedings on the matter. Thank you. Respectfully, Jennifer Spangler. So that is not quite verbatim the letter I sent. I changed it up here and there, but that's the story. That's my story. And it's so much bigger than that and so much deeper than that. And I know I've already gone on so long, so I should wrap this up. This is very, very important. I don't want to leave the workforce. I don't want to go on disability. I don't want to be back on opiate medication because I don't know what would happen to me. I really don't know. And I'm scared of that. I'm absolutely petrified. And you might think, oh, well, she's so addicted to the Kratom, she's petrified that she's going to lose the Kratom. No, I know what Kratom has done for me. It's replaced the need for Big Pharma's solution. And it's kept me healthy. I'm perfectly fine. In fact, I feel healthier than I've felt in the last 10 years. And I'm 38 years old. I'm almost 40 years old. And I feel like I could be 25. Except for when I look in the mirror, I realize that's not the case. But just please take this into consideration. Take everybody's words into consideration. We're not just a bunch of addicts running around going, don't take our drug away. Because first of all, it's not a drug. It's not even an opioid. It's related to the coffee plant. You already know all this. I'm not telling you something you haven't heard yet. But just listen. Please just listen. Don't just hear it. Listen. Take note. And do what's right. Do what is right. Thank you. And hashtag Kratom on, as they say.